foreign affairs, when people from around all the world participate to edit, write articles in Wikipedia. So this happens on March 8th, and he organized this in WikiGap Kolkata from the Women's Day. This is a brief story about WikiGap. They started in 2017 when they talked with the embassy in New Delhi and organized WikiGap for the International Women's Day. And then some stories about also in Pretoria, Washington, D.C., and the last name about almost for 60 countries they are organizing the WikiGap. This is the image of the wonderful people you see here. This is Rajib, is him, the organizer. So all the people he engaged, you see that are a lot of Mormon, almost half and half. And this is what they done, some moments about their event in Kolkata. These are the metrics. So what was done in this editathon? 46 articles were created, a new article, 151 articles edited, 13 editors which participated in this event, more than 186 bytes of information added, and more than 1 million of articles viewed. Wow. So they have another idea about Wiki Panshala, a Wiki Club, to be organized that. And their idea is to bring more participants, to translate in more languages, and to have a huge, long editathon, not only on this day, but during 3 months. Thank you. It was a pity to not present this work for someone who cares. So.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next one. So the next lightning talk is about. Do you have the hours, because I don't find it quickly. Who is the next to present the? From 4 and 10
different
to.
abilities.
Do you have? Is yours?
Huh?
Is yours now?
Yeah. No. The different abilities. By
Is the guy Viaceslav is not here?
Viaceslav
is a different. Viaceslav Cernev, which is our co-host. This is a space hosted by me, Sam, Rosie, Neta, and Viaceslav. Viaceslav, we need to call him.
Leisure Inequality, Sandra, Becker.
That's me.
Okay.
So we don't have Viaceslav. Maybe we can switch. Just if someone can. If someone can ask for Viaceslav is around to bring him here
as well.
Okay. Is this one? Which is yours? This one? PPT? Yeah. Okay. Which? PDF? Yes, PDF. because it's done with Mac.
Oh, but I also have PPT. I made a lot of different ones.
Yeah.
Just the same. The ODP. Yeah. Yeah, there it is.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was it.
Oh. This one. Okay. May I have the extensive? Where is a view? Full screen mode. Yeah.
There it is.
You can,
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Don't, I'm a developer, don't say nothing.
Yeah, hello everybody. Yeah, thank you for coming. I'm very happy to be here to give this talk on leisure inequality. Yeah, it's a typical issue if we talk about voluntary work, that we all have different amounts of time. And yeah, and also there's a lot of research on that subject. So I prepared some slides to that. Yeah, I'm starting with an overview cityscape. Actually, that's the city Porto Alegre in South Brazil, but it can be any place. Very often women have less money, live in little houses, are poor, but not only women. It's not only a women issue, it's an issue concerning the whole society. We have people who live in poor conditions, so they have less time, less free time, and that's a big impact on who has the time to do editing. So we have to look into that a bit deeper. Yeah, people who have not so much money very often use public transport. Again, it's a gender issue, but not only a gender issue, it's an issue about how do we spend our free time. And public transport, there's a lot of violence sometimes. Not in my country, I'm coming from a privileged country, not in my city so much, except in the middle of the night, but in other places, I know for a lot of women it's very difficult to use public transport. And this is a situation where you see two women, one man in the middle, and very often women have to deal with a kind of violence or something they expect that there's some violence happening. So they spend their free time in showing their border and thinking of themselves, who they are, taking care of their identity. That's one thing that I think would happen everybody. But then there's this other issue, which is considered as a typical women issue. It's also not a women issue, it's an issue about children. If you have to take care of children, this takes a lot of your time. All parents know that. So especially when they are small, they take all the time you have, and even more time, even the nights, which makes it very hard for people with young children to find time to do editing. But the other side is that, as we saw earlier today, and I don't know if you all saw this wonderful film from India, where a woman who is at home taking care of kids does editing. That's the other thing. Today, with the digitalization, you can be at home, take care of your children, have several children, and do editing. So at the same time, it's a big opportunity and a big possibility. So it does make sense to look into that and to find ways to, to get this time to make it usable for Wikipedia. Yeah, this is a specific period which is difficult for women, but also for men. You see a big belly. Women are often kicked out of their job. At that time they should be protected. Families should be protected. And very often women at that time lose self-confidence because they have other issues to take care of. Yeah, and then there's all this discussion about whose belly is it? Is the woman able to decide alone on her belly? What does that mean? So women are very much concerned with life in that situation. And they have a lot of thoughts about that, which I think are missing in Wikipedia, and it would be nice to have all those issues in there. Here we have a lot of talks on menstruation. That's also very important because that was a taboo, and that's also something, more than half of the population costs a lot of energy, a lot of time, and it's good to know that this is a big issue. Yeah, the other big issue is the question of children, of pregnancy, and it's not only a woman's issue, it's an issue of everybody, of our society, but that all takes our time, and it makes women, parents, go to see doctors, spend time there. So if there's a way to use the time that they have to spend anyway, like when they're waiting to see the doctor, to do some editing to facilitate the time organization, that would be very helpful. Yeah, women also have a lot of power in this time, not only in this time. Women are very powerful, they can generate new life, but often this is not wanted. The ideas, the thoughts, the worries, all the things women have in mind are not wanted in a patriarchal society. So there's this idea that we have to use a plaster, but let's put up the plaster, let's take it down, and let's take it down together, because there are important issues to all of us, not only to women, and let's make women speak about it. Yeah, this is an image how women are trained. If we watch the clothes, you can imagine to be dressed really beautifully. Also, it's very time consuming. It's also free time that goes into styling, into dressing up, into being pretty. That's also something to be aware of. And the image that we take to the outside is very important. Very often women are reduced to this outside image. And sometimes I think, well, maybe we can take time there too. Okay, so we have the situation that women at the end up working very hard. Men work also very hard, but they have more decision freedom, so they can choose to take a camera and set up a nice life. And we want this for everybody. Yeah, thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, I'm here.
We have Viaceslav.
Hi everyone.
Oh,
Hi.
nice.
So, thank you, Sandra.
Yes, okay, so you can give the next one.
Okay, well, sure.
Yeah, here's the next one.
Okay.
questions?
Do you have some?
Well, maybe some of
No,
these questions.
questions after the.
After them, okay.
We don't have lightning talks. Don't have this session of
Okay.
questions.
We don't have
please,
questions of
because
lightning.
it's only spot
Yeah.
presentation. So you can have the opportunity to ask to Sandra about this.
Well,
And if there's
yeah.
time after.
Shall I start?
Yes, I need to find your presentation to put it on the
Your slides.
My slides. I hope they're there
something
already.
like
You can just go. I just
Ah,
wanted to
okay.
get, yeah. I only need the stick, but you can just put it out. Yeah.
Okay. Because I need to show Viaceslav presentation.
Yeah, I hope it's there.
Yeah. So we need to go to diversity, different abilities.
Yeah. Sorry for making you wait, but so, well, that's just a technical thing. Well, on a side note, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We usually need to have some angel here to give us a hand, but it's not.
Well,
so different.
well, I belong to the group that one of the journalists in Russia described as, I quote, blind and blindly sighted people.
Oh.
Yeah, well, he wanted to say visually impaired, but you said blindly sighted. Not sure why. I was 8 at the time, so I kept asking lots of questions about that. So, kept asking my parents and the people surrounding me. So, in case anyone does not understand what I mean or has an immediate question, the thing that has to be resolved immediately, please feel free to interrupt me. That's not a problem.
So,
Okay.
these are your questions.
Well, yes. What I came here with is an attempt to actually create a user group intending to include as much of a disability-related content on one hand, and on the other hand, as many differently abled users and their supporters maybe as possible. So we do need that user group because, in fact, the term disability or different ability or special needs is an umbrella term, and we have very, very different people in that big community. So, in fact, the term differently abled is not very professionally, I think. We're all differently abled.
Yeah.
Well, even if you're formally sighted and hearing, you might have troubles with memorizing the information you hear or the information you see, or both. Sometimes that works as well. So, what groups do we have inside the special needs community or disabled community? Well, first up, we have people with sensory impairments, blind, visually impaired, deaf, hard of hearing. Then we have people who require help in moving, like those who cannot move around on their own. Then we have people with autism, with autism spectrum disorders, that's a more accurate term, I think. We also have people with who are dyslexic, dysgraphic, or dysorthographic, because these people are also they also deserve a place in the Wiki community, I think, despite their not being able to use the standard language correctly. The thing is that it would be extremely difficult to outline a strategy that would suit every single sort of special needs or disability. So I think that should be worked on individually. First off, speaking of the blind people, the two possibilities that we have, that's Braille and the speech synthesis. Recently, the Swedish scholars have developed a speech synthesis, the speech screen reading bots for the Swedish language. It's open source, so it is not related to NVDA or any other screen reading software that we're using at the moment. But yeah, it can be attached to either one, I think. That's good, but there are lots of minority languages. Even here in Sweden, you have Sami, and you have Sami pupils, you have Sami people with special needs who would like to contribute to Wikipedia, but they are not sure how to. I know of a Kazakh guy who, ethnically Kazakh, who can actually speak the language, but he said on his user page on one of the social networks that, you cannot write in Kazakh to me because I will not be able to read that. So, in other words, those who speak let's say a less supported language have to think, learn, study, converse in a more on the net in a more supported language. Russian for in case of Kazakhstan, Swedish in case of the Sami here in Sweden, and well, there are many other examples. I think you can think of an example in Italy where you cannot use the Italian Swiss as for Sicilian or for Sardinian or for like Veneto, yeah, quite a lot of languages. So yes, the major concern to accommodate these people will be to create like more speech synthesizers and to create more awareness that we need them. They want to feel needed. If we show them that we really need them, we will not purge the community from like people because they are differently abled or because they speak a less supported language or because they don't speak it well. Then I think that will work. As far as the deaf and hard of hearing people are concerned, there are two ways as well. First off, there is a Wikipedia in American Sign Language. I'm sure there are to be Wikipedias in other sign languages as well. There is a Polish Sign Language supports system in the Polish Wiktionary, but there is no Wikipedia in it so far because the sign languages do not have a codified writing system. There is something in use at the in the scholars' works on that, but the American Sign Language is glossed in English, so you explain every word through English, which makes American Sign Language look like just like a poor English, but that's a separate language. So this side of language support, although not my primary concern, is to be considered as well. And the second thing that we can do is to again to enable support for the visual materials in the minority languages. Another thing is for these people and for the people with dementia, for the people with some other kind of intellectual deficiency who are able to let's say perceive the language but not produce texts in the language or produce poor text in the language. The Germans have thought of a very interesting alternative to the standard language, the Leisure Sprache. I think there are Germans here, so they might have heard. Yeah, so it was a matter of public concern when it was used in one of the local elections in Germany. So what's wrong with our language? The normal German speakers said. So they used the Leisure Sprache, the easy language, instead of the normal language. I think both are to be used, but there are to be like two separate sets of election documentation and ballots for these people and the rest. And within the Wiki universe, I cannot yet think of a solution that would adapt to this this kind of need, because the Leisure Sprache is not meant to it's not meant for a lot of text to be produced in. So there is to be like another alternative. We do have simple English Wikipedia indeed. However, creating a simplified version of every single language, like we have more than 300 so far, I guess, or even more on Wikipedia.
188.
Yeah, 188. So imagine that we'd have to create a simplified version, a separate wiki for a simplified version of every language. Simple Italian, simple Sicilian, simple Veneto, simple German, simple Bavarian, simple Aleman. Well, that would not work that way. So we are to think of an alternative. Well, as far as other people are concerned, people with autism, people with maybe any other kind of disability that I've not thought of, we should remain careful while writing about them. Well, in Danish, I think there is no term for the people without sight or with limited sight as blind. So Russian, this, or in Polish, the actual term for blind, although a kind of normal word, is considered a bit of a derogatory term. So yeah, we have to stick to the terminology that community uses, or at least consider that terminology in the text of the article. And on the other hand, we do not have to reduce the influence of the rest, that means of the sighted people, on the article text about the blindness, and all the related topics.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Does anyone want to?
Yes, the question please after this,
Okay, yeah.
this session. So now we have Danielle.
And yes, everyone's free to join into the user group I've mentioned. It's still in the process, but yeah, feel free.
Is the information on Meta?
Yes, Para-Wikimedians Community User Group.
It appears there.
Okay. Which
is that
one?
Yeah.
I don't have another. Do you have a PDF?
No, just
Oh, that's a. Okay. Where is the? Okay.
Yeah,
Just
the arrows.
Just.
Yeah, that's fine. Hello everyone, I'm Daniela from Wikimedia Netherlands, and I've prepared like a small talk of 5 minutes or just a little bit more about a project I'm working on. I'm the project leader. Oh no, I'm going to tell you first where I'm from. As I said, the Netherlands, and even in Europe most people don't even know where to put their finger if they would try and indicate the Netherlands on their on a map. But we are sort of, on our right hand side is Germany, and south of us is Belgium and France, and on our left hand side Great Britain is slowly drifting into a Brexit. But actually when I say I'm from the Netherlands, that's just one single country from the Kingdom of the Netherlands. And we are this one country here in Europe, and actually the rest of our Kingdom of the Netherlands are Caribbean countries and public entities. There is 6 islands in the Caribbean that also belong to our kingdom. They are like 3 countries, Aruba, Curacao and St. Martin. And there is 3 public bodies, public entities, Bonaire, Saba and Statia. And the project I'm actually doing at the moment is I'm the project leader for Wiki Goes Caribbean. And for me as a person from the Kingdom of the Netherlands, that means that we are working on the culture and the heritage from those 6 Caribbean islands and Suriname. Suriname, maybe you wonder why, because Suriname was until 1973 also a part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, and then they became an independent, totally independent country outside our kingdom. But they do still have, we still have a lot of common and shared heritage. And what we try and do with Wiki Goes Caribbean is we try and extend, improve, update and distribute information on those Caribbean islands and Suriname. And quickly, how do we do that? In a lot of different ways.
And we have, for example, in the Netherlands, we have monthly wiki sessions in the National Archives in The Hague. And that means that with their support, they provide the location for us for the editathons. And also images, videos, and sometimes maps and stuff. And then we have picked a certain theme that we are going to write about, but also provide or make pictures ourselves. For example, our most recent session was about food and drink, and all of us, the work group and the participants, we brought something to eat or to drink. Then we took the pictures of that, and we brought cooking books and kitchen utensils. We took pictures of those, we put those on Commons, then we ate them, and then we wrote on those articles. So we created several articles about Caribbean food or Aruban food and the Curacao cuisine, and some specific ones about specific dishes or cakes, for example. And then there was something totally different. I gave a digital course via Skype to the three, what we call ABC islands, Aruba, Curacao and Bonaire. And that meant that there were our working groups on those islands, and there was about like 10 people on every island, between 10 and 15, who participated 4 times in a 2-hour working session, where I tried to explain them a lot about the Wiki universe. So Wikipedia, but also Wikidata and Commons, those were the subjects that we treated. And on Aruba, and hopefully this year also on Curacao, they organize Wiki Loves Monuments. So the yearly photo contest that takes place in September every time, with their own winners that then participate in the global competition. And last year there were 241 pictures uploaded to Commons in this competition, so that was a quite nice result. And we try and assist, and we in this case is Wikimedia Netherlands. We try and assist the people on the ABC Islands to connect as a wiki community, and one of the ways we did that was we went there and had loads of meetings like this, but also more informal meetings where we explain to a larger audience what Wikipedia is, what it stands for, how you could use Wikidata, and what you could do with Commons. And we did that mainly with GLAM organizations and educational organizations. An extra bonus is that on Curacao, they are actively working on the Papiamentu Wikipedia, which is, Papiamentu is like a language that is spoken on the ABC Islands with sort of 2 versions. So on Curacao they speak a little bit different Papiamentu version than on Aruba. And so we spoke a lot with university there and secondary schools about how they could set up and improve the Papiamentu Wikipedia. And well, we organize online wiki sessions online. And one of the things that we tried, because there's physically a lot of difference between us here in cold Europe and those 6 parts of our kingdom nicely in the warm Caribbean, that we try and be as practical as possible. And when we communicate online or offline, because we went there also for a trip around the islands to speak with everybody locally and literally talk together about how wiki projects can be used. And I think one of the best things was that we got to meet up with so many people that are now building their own community and also participating on several language Wikipedias, on Commons and on Wikidata. So that was tonight is that's not from this project. There is the newly created Wikimedians of the Caribbean user group meetup at 7 o'clock, And if you want, oh, my name at the end has fallen off, but if you want, you can always contact me at danielle@wikimedia.nl. And the posters, there's a poster session if you want to know more.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thanks.
I need to ask you something. If you took pictures about the presentation of Rajib, please share on the social media, because she wants to be yes, she wants to see her his presentation. She wants to see that everything goes okay. So please, I need to say to him that everything was perfect. So now we have so the session about lightning talks are finished. We have now a session about wiki menstruation, half an hour session. So I just need to receive the presentation. Did you send the presentation? So, Linda, you can.
Oh, okay.
Stella. And where is Blossom?
Blossom is taking a picture at the back.
Blossom, finish with all this help.